This episode is going to show you how to record errors in development and production for JavaScript code. So as you see here, we have code for my site Scale Your Code where I am serving audio content, so it's MP3 files being served through a player called JPlayer. But anyway, so here we have working code, and I'm just going to pop over to one of the episodes here to show you that it's working properly. It's a little bit slow since it's my development area. Okay, so right now, ignore the errors on the right side. These are Chromecast errors, which Google, for some reason, is not fixing. But anyway, so if we click play here. In this episode, we take a hands-on approach to learning Shap. We see that the audio is playing. We don't get any error specific to this audio playing or JPlayer, so we don't have any problems. Now, let me purposefully break this, and I'm going to switch to this to just some random value, and then I'm using gulp.js. So I'm going to minify and concatenate all my JS files. Okay, and then now I refresh the page here. Wait for it to load, and then on the right side you still have the Chromecast errors. Ignore these. None of these are specific to JPlayer just yet. And then if I click play, nothing happens, but I don't see any error reporting or anything like that. It's just nothing happens. So this is a developer's worst nightmare. You push this code to production, and you think it's working on your machine, but users are running into errors and not being able to use your business things that make you money. So that's a terrible nightmare. We want to be able to get visibility. So in this specific example with JPlayer, it's pretty easy to set up error reporting, at least for development. So I'm just going to add an error function here that just console logs our errors so we know what's going on. Okay, so I've got this here. Let me compile this. Oh, and I forgot something apparently. Oh yeah, my comma. So see, this is another reason I like using something like gulp. You don't push code and figure out it's broken. It tells you right away. All right, so now I'm going to refresh this page. And remember, the last time it didn't work, but we didn't have any reporting. This time it's not going to work, but it's going to tell me that it's not working. So first of all, it says, hey, we don't even have any supplied MP3 audio. And then if I click play, boom, there's another error. It says URL not set for the MP3 playback. So this is great, right? You're already familiar with this if you've done any JavaScript development before. But what if it's in production? I don't have any way of knowing that these errors went off in production. All I know is it's not working in development. And that's great for debugging, but I want all my users to be able to use this. And if there's any problem at all, I want to know about it. This is where a service like Rollbar comes into play, for example. So I personally use Rollbar at Scale Your Code. It works great. There are also other ones like Sentry and a few other ones as well. So check them out, see which one you prefer. I use Rollbar, so I'm going to do this with Rollbar. So let's go back to our code here. And I'm actually going to go ahead and get rid of these two guys here. And then we're going to have to plug into our Rollbar account. So if you don't have a Rollbar account, first of all, you need to do that, sign up with them, or sign up whatever service you're using. I'm sure the process is quite similar. This is mine here. This is my dashboard. What I'm going to do is go to the documents. So if you're on the home page, I think it's the same URL really. You just go up here and you click on docs. And next we're going to go to browser.js. And this is a really quick process. We're just going to grab this entire code here. And as you see, it says copy and paste the following into the head of every page you want to monitor. It should be as high as possible. I'm not going to do that just to simplify things. So, in your application, do that. But I'm just going to put it in my JS code. That way I don't have to mess with it and it doesn't get complicated. Now, the first thing you're going to have to do is change the access token here. So the way that you find it once you have your account is you go to your dashboard. And then you're going to click on settings. And inside of settings, you're going to click on project access tokens. I'm not going to show you my access tokens just because it lets you read and write to my account. I don't really want that. So just in case, I'm going to edit this part out. But click on this here and then go back in your code and paste the post client access key in this here. And then you're going to switch this depending on if you're in production or development or not. I'm just going to put local. Now that we have our access token and environment label set, we can go ahead and start reporting to our dashboard. So back in here, we click on dashboard. I'm sorry, actually, we're going to go back to the docs because I want to see, or I want to show you the different ways that we can report. So scroll down a little bit and you can test by just doing window error, but we're going to skip this step because I know it works. So now, as you can see in here, we have a few ways of reporting. One of the really nifty ones is just to do a try catch, wrap it in a function or whatever it is, and then as you catch it, you can report it to rollbar. What I'm going to do for this example here, just to simplify things, is copy this line right here. And I'm going to go back in my code, and instead of the console.log that we had, I'm just going to do a rollbar.error and then say I can do a lot of things here. I could say that JPlayer did not successfully play media. I could also do something like what we had earlier, where we did event.jplayer.error and then player.error.type. All right, so now it's going to report all three of these things, or I could just do it into one. I could have. Well, anyway, you're familiar with JavaScript. You know how this works. So let's try this out. Let's go ahead and save this. And if I set everything properly, it should be working. Okay, it's done. Oops, go back to this. And then we're going to refresh. All right, wait for it to load. And I'm going to hit play. As you see, we don't see any reporting in the console or anything like that. But if I go back to rollbar, we see here that JPlayer did not successfully play media. We also see no support, URL not set, and we have more errors. Now, this is a lot of errors for just one problem. I probably didn't need to do this, but I want you to notice that this top one here is for the last 24 hours. So as you see, I have other errors from other stuff I've done. And then here we have the top 5 actives from last day and last week, etc. And it shows you the graphs, which is quite nice. So let's click on this, the first one here. And you see the message, first of all. And then we can click on our little tab occurrences here. And now I've already done this one time before, so this is the one you see here. But this one right here is the new one. And you see a client time step, so you see what time it happened. You see the user's IP, some of the details like browser, OS. And if you click on it, you'll see some other kinds of information on here as well. What kind of browser they're running, a lot of other stuff as well. And what's really nice is that we are not just limited to this. We can pass in even more information. So if we go back to the docs, I don't know why I kept closing it because we need it, but if we go back to our browser.js and we scroll down, you'll see that we can add a lot of information. So here, for example, we're passing in a post ID. Let me do that right now. And let me get rid of this, and let's just do this. We're going to pass in the post ID, just like they did in that, and it's 13, I think, for Nathan's episode. Okay, so we're going to do it like that. Let me make sure I got the syntax. All right, so that should work. Let's try it now. And of course, you can do this dynamically instead of hard coding it. So let's go back to our page. And here you see that we have an increased count. So instead of just 1 count, we have 4 count now. And if I click on it and go back to occurrences and we look at here, I clicked the play button twice somehow. So it shows the message.extra.post ID, which is 13. Obviously, we see the ID here, but sometimes you have different kinds of URLs, or maybe you even have a logged in user and you want to pass in extra information like the username, the email, the user ID. As we see here, that's how you would do it. So as you see, there's a lot of really flexible things we can do with this, and I'm just touching the very basics, But go through this very short documentation and you'll see that we can have different callback functions. So if rollbar doesn't report properly, we can show that as well. We can have different levels of log messages like critical, error, warning, etc., etc., the try catch. There is quite a bit that you can do, and it's very, very helpful, especially with a language like JavaScript, where in the client side, how do you have that much visibility if you're not building your own system or using something like rollbar, for example? So I hope you've enjoyed this. Go ahead and try it out, see how it helps you, share it with other developers, and happy developing.